Hello,
My
man of God.
family, what's up?
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm so good. I'm super excited about today.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm glad we finally got a time that like will work for the both of us.
Listen, I said, "Oh Lord, help me, Lord." What? I said, "Kim, can you go this week?"
If y'all only knew how hard we struggled to try to make sure we had a time that worked for the both of us, because y'all know Dana famous, like she's famous. So
I'm about to disconnect
I
this whole
literally
line.
had to like pencil time in to make sure that she was
Don't
available,
do not try me
that
here on
she
that.
was available to be on live on tonight.
This had nothing to do with me. I am nowhere near famous. No,
Whatever.
shut up. And people agree with you. No, I am not. Not from the pit, from
They
the
know,
bottom
they
of the
know.
pit. No, I'm so excited. We started off with prayer, and I
Okay,
mean, for those I'm not the famous one. This
whatever.
is clearly who's famous. So yes, so we're gonna pray, get started. Kind of just tell us who you are. I know very well, but for those who don't know, if they're living under a rock, you can
Cool.
tell them. But God, we thank you. We thank you so much for this time to come together.
Thank you, Lord.
You are uniting people from all over the world into one space to talk about something that I feel
Yes.
like is not really touched on. It's the heart of the worship leader, God. And I ask that you just be in this conversation. Every person that has come here looking for something, God, we ask that if they don't get the full revelation, that they get a seed, oh God, that is
Yes,
planted.
Lord.
God, we thank you that your wisdom, your knowledge, your power will flow all through this and that we'll have fun. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
In Jesus' name.
So, who are you, Denar Young?
Who am I?
Outside of,
Who am I?
responding and
Okay. Okay.
outside
Okay. Okay. If I literally had $5 for every person that says Dinar. Oh my God. Who am I? It's crazy that you asked me that question because I feel like for oh wow, 26 years of my life, like I've had an image of my mind of who I thought I was,
of
but now it's like God's really in the process of like revealing them. And this is really, really who you are. And that's been like in the last month or so. But naturally speaking, I'm 26 years old. I'm a worship pastor at the greatest church in the world. Our sister
Forward
church is
City.
one church, of course, but Forward City is the greatest church I've ever been a part of in the history of life. I am married. My wife
Woo
Keisha
woo.
Young. I think she's on here too. Yeah, I know she's probably on here watching me for sure. But yeah, I'm married. I am.
Uh-oh, she said you don't know your age. She said you're
Oh
27.
wow, I'm 27. Oh man, wow. That's funny. That's funny. That's funny. I'm really bad with ages. Like I don't know how old I am. I don't know how old I don't know how old my sister is. I know how my wife is because she tells me all the time. But still, it's like
Oh,
that's
sis.
that's
Hey,
crazy. But
y'all need a
no,
reality show.
well,
I'll be waiting. I'll be waiting
no
for
man.
your IG stories. I done watch all y'all YouTube videos.
Oh
I
man,
love that.
she is hilarious and she's a joy to do life. But I've been married for like almost 2 years now. I do know that. Almost 2 years, and so that's been crazy. Yeah, I'm from Columbia, South Carolina / Hopkins, South Carolina, an obscure town that nobody ever knows, but uh, it's a really, really cool town. So many incredible people. I know you were on here with my sister Kim. I think it was Wednesday.
I love
Yeah,
Kim.
she's also from Hopkins too. So it's like so many incredible people are from there. But yeah, man, I'm a singer. I sing behind my spiritual father, Travis Green, his vocal director as well. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell. I don't really know what else.
Well, then my question is this: like, have you always been like like for me? I grew up in church. I was the youth
Gotcha.
praise team worship leader. Like it's like kind of been a part of my lifestyle. Did you start singing, or like what was that journey like?
It's when you have a family that sings, you kind of don't get a choice.
Mm.
Like
And
you're not. Nobody asks you, hey, do you want to start singing? No, you get put up on the stage and you get a mic put in your hand and you're told
Absolutely.
you're gonna sing this song, right? And you're gonna like it, you're gonna smile, and that's it. And so
You're gonna
that's
enjoy
kind of like
it.
my
You're gonna
mom.
love to do this.
Yeah, you're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. And so that's like my mom. She's a choir director. My aunt was the worship director at my home church. My uncle was the worship director at my home church. My dad plays bass. So I come from like a pretty musical family. So I people ask me all the time, like, when did you start singing? I don't know. It's just kind of like,
Yeah, 3, 2,
yeah,
1.
it's
I
like
don't know.
it was never a choice for me to start. I just kind of like did. So yeah, that's the thing. And so, but even with regarding worship, that was more so, I would say, forced upon me than anything. I always was cool with like leading.
Force.
Yeah. It was forced for sure. It was forced because like I was cool with like leading songs every now and then and doing this whatever. But there came a point where I think uh, my college, my not college, my what was it? It was like middle school choir director at the church. He was like, "Yeah, you're gonna be the worship leader now." And I was like, "Yo, like I don't know anything about
What does that
any of
mean?
this. Like, right? What is right? I just get up here, sing, do runs, and I sit down. Like I don't really
Not
know
do
what
runs.
I don't really know what this is. But and that was like when I was like what 12, and so I've been leading. I wouldn't count anywhere from 12 to about 24 that really count at all. But I've been leading worship since like 12 for sure. So
That's crazy. That's like
yeah,
me. Like I grew up. I mean, we have like our family has like records. Like they've been singing, traveling, singing, and so like my first solo was
famous.
in my grandma's. Stop. My first solo was in my grandma's living room because we used to have like concerts and
Oh, that's
they'll
so
bring guitars and everything in the living room, and that would be like the setup. There was no other option. Like that's where you started. That's where you started. Like so, how? This is my question because you recently were ordained. Can you hear me?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah. I can't now.
you're just freezing on my end. But you were
I'm
recently
sorry.
ordained as a worship pastor.
As I
Have
know,
there been
crazy.
like, is there a difference? Because I was ordained too, so I have my own. But do you feel like is there a shift? Like, was there a different shift in your
That's
leadership,
the
or like,
crazy
is there a
part.
difference?
That's the crazy part because I mean it's a super hilarious story. So like it's last year August. We were preparing. I think it was a vision night, so that's the whole church comes together and we do worship for a little while, and then PT and PJ get up and they cast vision, tell about what's happening in the next quarter, all this stuff. And so we're preparing for that, like maybe like 45 minutes before I get a call from my dad, and he's like, "Oh, so you're getting ordained today?" And I was like, "What?" Like what? I didn't know anything. I didn't know anything.
Come again?
I'm like, what are you talking about? He was like, your mama said you got a program today. I was like, what are you? No, I'm not. What are you talking about? And so I was like, Dad, what are you making this up? Whatever, cool. Go throughout the program, and then at the end, PT's like, yo, Denard Keisha, come up here, and I'm just like, oh God, like what's happening? But in terms of like the occupational shift, one thing that God kind of told me long time ago when I was back at my home church is that a lot of things that are gonna come for me, by the time they get to me, it won't be on the job training. He'll prepare
Wow.
me before. He'll prepare me for it way in advance. And so, while
Wow.
the weight was different, the work was the same.
Mm.
Does that
Mm.
make any sense?
Absolutely.
In terms of the title was there, but in terms of like walking with people and shepherding, like I have a shepherding heart, so I have people that I like do life with all the time, and I always have. But in terms of making an official thing, that just made the weight of it a little bit stronger. But I felt like from a very small age, I was always called to be a pastor of some sort. Didn't know what that was, but it was made super clear last year when I got ordained. So yeah.
Mm. That's funny. It's because like when we had our ordination service, PT said, and it's funny we both call our pastors PT,
Yeah,
but
isn't it crazy?
PT said because I make a joke all the time like we are the Potter's House at Forward City One Church LA because
And we are
we
Forward
share an
City at
MD.
right. Right,
We
right,
so
right.
intertwined. Some are songs, y'all are BGBs. Some of y'all
And then
songs
and
are
then vice,
singing in the
vice
back.
versa. Right, right.
It's
We
so
currently
terrible.
use you guys on God is fine. That's all y'all. That's
Y'all
all y'all.
and y'all are I am who you say I
Yes,
am.
yes, yes.
Arrangement and everything. So I call this the Potter's House in Ford City, One Church LA.
That's
No,
funny.
but at our service, he was like, all I'm doing is affirming what you've already been operating in. Like, this is
Mm,
okay, now do something different. It's like what you've already been doing. I mean, for me though, I did, like you said, like the spiritual weight of it shifted. You know what I
yeah.
mean? I felt like I was able to see a little clearer and a lot more strategy and stuff like that. But as far as like the day to day, that kind of remained the same. One thing
Mm.
that I admire though about you, that I'm trying to get my life together, is that you can go in the studio. I've seen you'll post it. You
Oh man.
literally will do every vocal part, arrangements. You pretty much do everything. And so my question is, for the person like me struggling to walk in to understand what Pro Tools and Logic is, as a
Mm.
worship leader, understanding stems and arrangements and all that
It's a
fun
whole
stuff.
different world. Yeah.
It's two different worlds.
It's
Like
a
how
whole
how do
different
you
world.
walk into that space and not be
Um,
overwhelmed and run away?
well, I mean, I can't. I wish I had this story where it was like, yeah, I just had all this interest and I knew how to. No, it was again thrown on me. PT was like, yeah, we're gonna start using vocal stems, and you gotta learn how to record them like tomorrow. So I'm just like,
Woo!
like, okay, okay,
What's
cool.
the stem?
What's the stem? Right? What is this? Like,
Put it in here. What
I
is
don't know how to make any of this stuff. But it does take, I guess, like one of my my a big brother and a mentor to me is he's a pastor back at our church too, but Pastor Matt Edwards, and he really sat me down and walked me through how to use. We use Studio One now, so how to record, how to structure your sessions, how to everything like that. So mentorship is definitely key, but on the other side, it's grit. Like you have to want to learn.
wow.
Like, and it's so many free tools out there. Like I spent hours on YouTube trying to figure out how the heck to get this mic to connect to this interface, like stuff like that.
Wow.
Reaching out to people like a Brunis who showed me some stuff too. Reaching out to different connects that I have, kind of using your pool around you, but
Yeah.
also having that inner like, I want to do better. I want to know more. I want to get this done. So yeah.
That's crazy. It because child, I opened up my Mac and I started looking at the stuff. As I think I've gotten as far as GarageBand can take me, and I'm sad to report, but no, it does require grit because it's. I felt like, I mean, well, we have Brunis, so he's just
Mhm.
he does
He's
everything.
Brunis is he's unfair. Like he's
He's genius, but it's
yeah.
like, but when you have somebody like that, it's kind of like, well, I mean, I'll learn it if when the time comes. But I think it really, like you said, it's like if I need it. But it's kind of like
Hmm.
what you already said. Like you
Yeah.
have to have that grit. I'm gonna switch it a little bit. I've asked
Okay.
like pretty much every worship leader who has gotten on this same question because I think the answer surprised me for sure every time.
Mm.
But I know I've been gassing you this whole life, but you are
Gassing.
one
I
of
mean, I'm
those.
literally on fire right now. Gassing.
I mean, it is what it is. What the Bible say? By the grace of God, I am that I am. No, but look, you know your voice is so incredible, right?
Thank you.
Has there ever been a time though where you looked at Dinar in the mirror and said, "Ugh, I suck. Like I don't. What is this? I don't have it. I'm not good enough."
Yeah, that was like every single day for like I told you, the first 20 odd years of my life.
Wow.
Like because I honestly my voice, growing up as a dude, first of all, if you sing it as a dude, you automatically get looked at like, nigga, what you doing? Like I'm sorry, you
You
can't like, what are you doing?
suck. You suck. You
Yeah, you
sing. You
soft. Like, what are
rap.
you like? What is that? But at the same time, growing up, and then of course, every dude that sings, you start off with a high voice, and so it's like all your friends like, yo, what's up? You sing, ah, it's like, yo, like,
Like candy
right,
girl.
right, it's right. So you try to find different ways to dumb yourself. At least I did. I tried to find different ways to dumb myself down, especially like in chorus, how my voice never sounded like anybody else's around me. So I was like, maybe like I should start singing like them to fit more in. And I just kind of for the first, not even the first, for the majority of my life, it was like I didn't enjoy myself. I didn't enjoy my voice. I didn't enjoy my sound. I didn't enjoy anything. But it took really the Father sitting me down, and it's like, bro, like in order for you to fully walk in the area and the confidence and the full grace that I have for you, you have to like yourself. Like
Wow.
you have to value your sound. Your sound is important. And I think that's one thing that I have a couple mentees now that I'm kind of trying to instill into them too. Is like, bro, if you don't love your sound, nobody will.
Wow.
If you don't love it, if you don't love it, if you don't appreciate it, if you don't invest in it, if you don't think it's good enough, you'll never spend the time or you never spend the energy growing it because it's like you're like, why try?
Yeah.
Why invest in it? Why all this stuff? And so yeah, I definitely have recently, and I would even say that change has been, it's like you find it and then you lose it and then you find it again.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
see, like
yeah.
it's not. I
Yeah.
wish it was something that's like yo, it's like it's a constant. Like I feel this way the entire time, but no, you
Like I
find
got
it,
it. I'm
you
good.
got it, and then you hear somebody else sing, and it's just like, oh
I don't
man.
have nothing.
I
Lord.
don't, I don't, yeah, I don't got it. Like, I don't.
I used to have this like this. I used to tell myself like I'm only anointed, like I'm only anointed in church. Like
Mm,
I can't sing anywhere else. Like
mm,
I'm only good for the Lord. Like I can't go
mm,
in any other place and be successful. And God had
mm.
to teach me like your talent. I that's a gift that I gave
Yeah,
you. Your choice to use it for me is up to you. But like
yeah.
your gift is your gift.
Your
Like you
gift
know
is
what
a
I mean?
gift.
Like that can't be taken away from you. Like that's
Yeah.
your like it's your gift to like it's a
Mm,
gift to you. Like your voice
mm.
is a gift. You know what I mean? And I had to like find a comfort. But it like you said, it never stays. Like people will probably look at me like I'm crazy if I say I second guess myself in moments, even
All the
in
time.
here last week. Like I'm like, why did I make that choice, Lord? Watching
Right,
back, back like,
right,
who am I? This is I
right,
quit. Like I quit.
right, right,
But what?
right.
So what do you tell yourself in those moments? So say you're on the stage, or actually, I have a better question because I've kind of
Okay.
been struggling with this for myself. When you're on the stage and you're in the, you're in the moment and you're worshiping God, but there are moments where you can like hear yourself, right? And you're like, oh, I shouldn't have did that. How do you keep going? Like, how do you commit? Like, get recommitted in the midst of a song?
Commit. Um, it's definitely a practice skill. For sure, because it's common nature if you're a singer and you're a perfectionist. If you mess up, you want to go back and do it again to
Yeah,
make it
yeah.
better. But on a stage in a worship service, you really don't have the chance to do that, like at all,
No,
like because you're
no.
focusing on kind of going after whatever the Father is saying in that moment. So you can't go back and erase mistakes and everything. So it's really focusing in on the Father and taking the focus off of yourself, because really in that moment you're just a vessel.
Mm,
Like God, like the notes that you sing, the words that you say, they really don't matter. It's the Father speaking through you.
yeah,
And so it's
yeah.
less of an emphasis on I'm not doing this the way that I want to do it. More so God is doing this the way that He wants to do it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that takes the pressure off.
Yeah.
Because we carry so much. It's like I have to sound good. I have to make sure we have energy on stage.
Yeah.
I have to,
For sure.
you know what I mean? Like so then
For sure.
so with one at like so with the Potter's House LA in Denver, like with the onboarding process, and we're doing like like auditions and things like that. When we
Yeah.
get to a certain place in the stage where we've kind of like solidified who we want to be in the team, we kind of do for a while. We've been doing this thing where we'll have you serve in the church in other capacities before you even come on the stage.
Hmm.
Like what is that process for you guys? Like is it kind of like
For
oh
the worship
Lord?
team.
Yeah, for the worship team.
It's so it's entirely different now that we're virtual. I think everybody's process is just completely different now.
Yeah.
Everybody's process is jacked
Everything
completely up.
about everything is different.
Everything about everything is different for sure.
Yeah.
But starting this year, in the past, I'll jump to the past first. But we used to have a closed team, and it was just about like I think 11 of us, and we would
Yeah.
sing. I think at that time we only had two services, so he would sing. I would rotate the people in and out. He would sing, and it was good. But then we switched to three services, and rotating 11 people in three services is impossible.
We
Like,
keep the same team, all three services. So Merry
oh, see
Christmas.
that? Yeah, that's a lot. Like it's a lot, and then it tires you out for sure.
Yeah, for sure,
And
for
so,
sure.
the top of this year, God really kind of impressed on me to kind of open the scope because we have so many people, so much talent, so many different gifts that God's invested here at Fort Worth City that I felt like
Yeah.
we had an untapped pool of resources to use that we weren't using. So I opened up the auditions. I think at the end of December we did some. We had I think 50 odd people come out.
Wow.
They audition. They first of all we have several rounds of auditions. I would say we do a virtual audition first to kind of weed through different vocal textures and giftings. Amen. And then and and glory to God. And then we do callbacks. And so at the callbacks, they sit as they kind of audition in front of a board of I think it's six of us, and we
Wow.
get their info, talk to them, ask them a couple questions, interview them, and then kind of work with them, see what ability wise, to see the skill, to see everything like that too. And in addition, God kind of gave us a focus, if you will, for our worship team. Because like back in January, Pastor Jackie had asked every department to name their three words or their three things they want to be known for. And
Hmm.
God kind of impressed on our heart that our three words were passion, performance, and power. The passion
Wow.
that comes through telling the story of Jesus, the performance or the skill attached to it as well, and then the power that comes with knowing that none of this is yours. It's all the Father's.
Good. That's
And
good.
so that's kind of the metric that we use. We look at the passion of the performer. We look at the performance. How well do you sing? Are you trainable? Are you technically skilled? And then also the power. Now the power part is definitely something that comes through direct fellowship with the Father for sure. But at the same
Yeah.
token, like, are you open enough to be taught to have a connection
Yeah.
with the Father?
Yeah.
That's two different. I'm sure you know everybody. I'm sorry, my mom.
Two completely different ways.
Yeah, two completely different people. But yeah, that's kind of our process here at Forward City.
So now that the team is expanded, because like one thing we experience, because like with 1LA, like we do auditions, it's like no less than like between 75 to 100 people, 150 sometimes. It's like a
Yeah.
lot of people. And so we always end up starting the new year with like a whole lot of people. And then by the
Yeah.
end of the year, so now that, because when you have that one team, y'all
Mm-hmm.
gel together, you know what everybody's going to do. When you go to a harmony, everybody just fall in. Like you pick up that like you just know who you're
Mm-hmm.
warring with. How do you keep that same element with a team of many people?
And so what we did is kind of the principle. Like I was reading Exodus earlier in the year with my wife Keisha, and there's a chapter where Moses and the Israelites got to I guess they were in between the promised land and in between Egypt and everything like that. And there were so many of them where Moses would sit down every single day and try to judge each and everything that they said. Each and every person came in with a problem, like from morning until night, and it exhausted him out. And his
Yeah.
father-in-law was like, yo, like you need help. Let me go ahead and put elders and people in place so that you don't have to do
Right.
everything by
Right.
yourself. And so what we did is taken from that model, I have 6 or 7 leaders, and each of them have their own individual teams.
Wow.
And so we have 2 over the women's team, the Dig Deep team. We have 2 over the college team. We have 2 over the Kid City team, so that the 6 that I am around the most, that you typically kind of see the most on the big stage. I pour into them the most. I'm around them. We have our Bible studies. We talk and everything, and then it's their job to disseminate that through.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
That helps. Is
For
there
sure.
ever a time? Is there ever a time where, like, how, like, when it comes to like, because you live two lives, right? Because you're the worship pastor, you
Mm-hmm.
serve consistently. Thank God for the beautiful gift of delegation, so you're able to
Oh
kind
my
of balance
God. Yes.
on that end. But where does the balance come in with touring the world and being a worship pastor? How does that work?
That's one that was difficult to manage at first, because I literally went from singing every Sunday in Colombia at my home church to singing in Africa. It's like what?
Yeah.
like,
What,
like
Lord?
what?
How, Lord? What?
Like what is this? And so even the getting over the shock, like this is actually a thing, that was a thing for me for a while, for sure. But one thing that PT really kind of model and exemplify and even impressed into me is that it's less of a balance, more of a rhythm.
Mm.
And because where you get into trying to allocate, okay, this time to do that, this time to do that, it's like that's where you kind of start to lose things. But the more you begin to juggle all things at once, the easier it
Mm.
gets. And so literally you can
That's
ask
good.
anybody I'm with on the road, like the entire time I'm on the road, I'm on FaceTime with my wife. Literally, like all the time. After a show, in the middle of a show, it's like she's not some person that's excluded from this part of my life. She's
Mm.
integral in that as well. And so we have a note called story time. Anything that happens on tour, anything like I'll write it in there. We talk about it, funny stuff. She keep me updated back at home. So it's keeping a rhythm, a natural rhythm going in the midst of adding things in.
Wow. And I want to
Yeah.
commend you guys. Like, I feel like, I mean, because I'm a little bit obsessed with y'all because y'all really, really funny. Y'all make me laugh
Thank you.
all the time. So I'll be waiting for y'all stories. But I want to like commend you like openly, like because you kind of make it look easy. Like you, like
Mm,
because you do carry it all. There's like there. I feel like
mm,
with what you know, obviously we all choose to display what we do, but with what you expose to the world is a great balance. Like you
mm,
show that you're at home, like you know,
mm,
like you show that you're like, and I think it looks all completely authentic. Like you
mm,
show us how to balance marriage, how to balance touring the world, and how to balance being a pastor, how to balance like you show it without saying this is what I'm showing y'all. And I
mm.
feel like
Thank you.
with us, or like with with worship leaders, I feel like there's this misconception of perfection, and that we just have it all together, and that our lives are perfect. We don't ever bleed, we don't cry, we don't, we just are sitting at the feet of the Lord, and that is all we think about, and that's all we know. And if this is the will of God for our lives, you'll see, because that's what,
Right.
like, it's
Right.
very weird, and but
It's
you
so spooky. Right.
it's
So
so
spooky.
boogeyman. But I feel like with you, you make it like almost like attainable, if you know what I'm saying.
Mm.
Like I feel like there are worship leaders, or just leaders in general, rising up that make it look attainable, because in real life it is. And like if God called you to it and assigned you to it, you're
Yeah.
capable. And I think
Yeah.
you show that, hey, I can do it too. You're capable. You know what I mean? Because I'll
Mm.
be watching your stories like, man, listen to him just laying down all those vocals. Whew. One day, one do
That's
it. One
no.
do it. No, I can do it. I
But
can do it.
but it's crazy. Like even to add to your point, I feel like in church we've been shown fake for so long.
Oh
God
my
is
God.
raising up a generation of people. It's like, yo, this is real life for us. This is really what
Yeah.
happens. This is really what we go through. This is like he's raising up a generation of like the real, for a lack of a better term, for sure. Like, and you see that in, like you said, so many different people. Like I follow, I'm I guess fortunate now to be friends with some of the people I've looked at from afar for so long, and it's comforting to me to know that the people that I'm close to, or people that even I watch, like they're the same person on the stage and off the stage. That's important. That's really, really, really
It's a
important.
rarity.
It's a rarity.
It's
Yeah.
very sad how rare that is. It's
So rare.
crazy. But I think because we paint this perfection, this picture, this
Yeah.
perfection
Like you have to
picture.
be, yeah. You have to be this perfect person. You have to say all the right things. You can never have a bad day. You can never have
Oh my
all of this stuff.
God.
Now, even in being real, there is discretion. Cool, understood. But at the same
Yeah.
time, it's like I'm not this perfect person with a perfect life, with a perfect everything. One
Right.
really real thing that God kind of exposed to me and my wife, um, kind of recently is that like for the first year of marriage, like literally, I got married on in November. 4 days after that, I was on tour in Africa.
Whew.
Like literally, we had a
Oh
3 day
my God.
honeymoon. We had a
Oh
three
my
day
God. Keisha,
honeymoon.
you should have went to Africa too, girl. That should have been
Nah, she said no, nah, I'm definitely not. She did not want to go. But
that's
no, like
funny.
she literally, we drove from Augusta, Georgia to New Orleans because we couldn't go out of the country and get back in time and everything like that. So we drove from
No.
Augusta to New
No.
Orleans, had a 3 day honeymoon, drove from New Orleans to Atlanta to fly to Africa for 2 weeks. And so literally, like the first 2 weeks
What?
of our marriage, I was in Africa.
That's insane.
And then going from there to like going on tour and everything, the first year of life I was like really gone. Like the first year of our marriage I was gone. So when we got back, like our first year, we have a great connection, great marriage and everything. Great, you know, everything grows as well too, so it's a
Yeah.
process and everything, but the
Mhm.
first year was great. The next year, this year, well, I think it was what, this year or last year? No, this year, literally, like everything that we were supposed to go through the first year, we're going through this year because I'm home all the time.
Yeah, yeah, you
Yeah, it's
can't go
like
nowhere. You
this is real life. Look at it in the comments. Look at it. Somebody listen. Look at it. But yeah, it's
you
like
like
it was
what you
definitely an adjustment, but because of the pace of our lives, it just happened at a later rate. But still, it's
wow.
something that, like you said, it's something that me and Keisha, we try to be like, we're super honest people. We're super like, we're open books. Anybody ever have a question about anything, like we'll sit down and like, yo, this is what's happening, this is what's going on. Our friends know that we are like, yo, this is what's happening in our lives, this is what's going on, this is tough for us. But the blessing in that is having somebody that's united with you to be real with
Yeah.
you in those moments.
Because y'all were ordained together. And I thought that was
Together.
like, oh my, that's mind blowing. It's
Dude.
because I feel like, like there's this thing also where we're like, oh, I'm on this path, I'm on this journey. And some people, find their mate before they're launched into purpose. And other
Yeah.
people, have it right then and there. And then some other
Mm-hmm.
people kind of, never. You know what I mean?
Oh
And
my
so I'm
God. Yeah.
so sad. Oh Lord, help me, Lord. Please don't be that Lord. No, but but I feel like what a great blessing to be able to go through the journey, even though it's probably challenging,
Mm-hmm.
because right there in your face is a mirror, and it's like we're kind of like, though we're on different paths, we're on the same path because the
Yeah.
demand is on the both of our lives. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so it's like you
Yeah.
kind of, it's like a built-in accountability person, like.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And even in the beauty in that is being able to see both parties grow together. Like, because
Wow.
I'm sure she looks at me and she'll see, like, I'm not the same person that I was that she met back in 2017. And then vice versa. Like, y'all, little known Black History fact, me and Keisha were not friends when we first met. At,
Really?
oh,
You would think y'all was besties. Y'all knew each other since y'all
Keisha,
was
no, so
kids.
Keisha, my wife has so she in Jesus' name, she used to have a business personality that she put on, and it's just like this super corporate. I need da 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 whatever, and so she used to, she was my
I
boss
hate
for
that
the.
you said she used to. Don't do
She
her.
used to. I'm saying it because she did change. She changed a lot. So she was my boss for a while, like the longest. And
Wow.
so yeah, when
Wow.
I started off crazy again, my whole story is like it's way too long for our call today. But it's like I started off at Forward City as a videographer. I wasn't singing. I wasn't
Wow.
doing anything. I started off doing pictures. They found me at my home church. And my brother Chan, he was like, yo, I know this guy who does pictures and video. We should get him to come to our church. And so I started off like not even doing anything with worship. And so
That's
Keisha was my
crazy.
boss. Keisha was my boss, and she was doing like kind of like overseeing projects and everything. So she would call me like, no, I need X, Y, and Z. I need this. I'm like, yo, like you can say hello when you call me. You know that,
Hi,
right?
how are you?
Right. Hi, how are you? How was your day? That's a conversation. Like that. That's how.
He said, "Do you have
But
those files?" Thank you.
yeah, yeah, that's what it was. It's like, yo, like, but it grew from that to like an actual friendship, and it's crazy to see just the growth that's happened in my life, but on looking on the outside. And like, it's encouraging even to see the growth in my wife. Like, she's not the same person that I met at all. Even like from August to now, I've seen her really fully embrace the mantle of being a pastor and
Wow.
walking with her friends, walking with people that she loves, and like really pouring her life out. And even like she preached for the first time in her life last year too. So it's like stuff like that. Like it's super, super incredible to see two people kind of walk together and grow together. So
Yeah. It's
yeah.
wonderful. How I mean, you kind of told us how y'all surviving through quarantine. So y'all
Man,
real close. So it's a lot
we
of stuff.
real, I mean,
How are
real
you
close.
guys as a worship team though surviving that?
So I'll be honest. My role at the church changed a little bit. So pre-COVID, I was mainly, we're focused on Sunday morning maintenance. And so you have your rehearsals, you have your time with your leaders, you have your Bible studies, everything like that. But post-COVID, every part of church is a virtual church. And so like you have to film everything, you have to edit everything. And then me
Mm-hmm.
having those skills,
Production.
I had to get back into some of the editing and production. So to being honest, juggling the two of those worlds was very hard at first. Because
Wow.
the only time that I had with my team, unfortunately, was when we got together to record for Sunday morning. Now, those times were great. They were great. Like the Lord was definitely there. There was time to grow and spend time with each other and everything like that. But that connection that we had was, I wouldn't say lost, but it was kind of put on pause for a second.
Mm.
And so that is something that I'm actively um, reinstituting, like, but going back to doing our Zoom calls, going back to doing our Bible studies, going back to doing our devotionals, because that's needed. Like, I
Yeah.
miss walking with the people that I work with, like you said, for sure.
So how did you do that though? I mean, because a lot of people, I feel like in worship teams, they miss the element of the touch. And
Mm.
so it's really focused on learn these lyrics, make sure you sound just like the Sims, make sure,
Mm-hmm.
like the day to day, but then I feel like the touch is missed. How do you,
Mm-hmm.
like, what do you do to keep the touch?
So what we're doing, we're going back to is every Monday we used to meet with I used to meet with my leads team, and so that would be a part that even though you can't physically touch, you still feel the connection, the interaction when you have
Yeah.
everybody together following after and like and really like diving into the word. That's the biggest community builder that I know really.
Yeah.
And so that's one thing. And then also now that Columbia or South Carolina kind of just does whatever they want to do, the whole state's open again. So like we're available.
Oh, y'all out there wilding up.
We wilding,
Why the whole
wilding. But
state
so
open? They said everything. Everybody come
everything,
out.
all the restaurants, the parks, the slides, everything is open. Like it's open. But in
I hope that
discretion.
lasts,
So
child.
it's right. And so what we're gonna do is go back to doing our maybe like once or twice a month, do like many, not the entire, because I think our entire department now, including the choir and everything, we have I think 53 members, and that's not wise to get together.
No.
But in small pockets, like our teams of 6 and our small teams, I'm gonna charge them as like, yeah, I want y'all to meet up at least maybe like once or twice a month when this stuff goes back to normal, for sure. And so getting back into the rhythm of walking through the word and diving together and like having a connection, but also going back into meeting up and everything too. Just like we get the personal touch and everything.
That's good. I know
Yeah.
I feel like my questions are all like bouncy, but I
No,
just
no, no, you're
don't
fine.
know. Well, I have a question. What would you tell the person going, like, taking this step into walking into the realm of becoming a worship artist? Because I know that you travel closely, you know, with PT, and you kind of
Mm-hmm.
see his day to day. But
Mm-hmm.
what, like, but from the space of like leading worship consistently, like, what would you tell that worship leader that wants to
You
walk
know,
into becoming a worship artist now?
the biggest lesson that I think we touched a little bit on part one of it earlier in the call, but falling in love with yourself. Oh, I've literally, like, you see my blinds. I'm sorry. I'm trying to.
No,
Can
you're
you see it now?
fine. No, you're fine. My phone is being weird, so you're
Yeah,
fine.
you're fine. But no, falling in love with yourself. That's number one. Number two is don't be thirsty. Like,
Mm,
it's something that, like, literally plagued me. So the minute that I quote unquote fell in love with myself, maybe around like 21 or 22 or whatever, like, God was like, "Oh, you actually can sing." And so I took that and I ran, and I, like, every
you
single
said,
person
"Oh
I looked
yeah."
at. Oh yeah, I ran full steam. I'm gonna have a group. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna be the next Travis Green. I'm gonna be the next. I'm gonna be all this stuff. And this is before I got to Forward City, before I did anything like that. And God was like, "Bro, like, chill out. Like,
Relax.
right, calm down, bro."
Oh, that's funny.
And I lusted after, like, position and opportunity so much. God was like, "Bro, if you got it, I wouldn't get any glory from this at all." And so literally, like, I felt like God, like, literally was holding it from me. But the minute that I dropped that, the minute that I dropped ambition, opportunity knocked. The
Wow.
minute that where I stopped lusting after wanting to be on stages and wanting to be on tours and singing behind this and doing everything
Yeah.
like that, was the moment God was like, "Yo, I can trust you with this now."
Wow.
And so that's my biggest advice, is don't be thirsty. Like, God's plan is perfect and his timing is even better.
Yeah.
Trust not just in what he wants to get done, but the way he wants to get it done.
That's good. That's so good. That's so
Like,
good.
that's if it's anything, and I'm having to deal with that even now, because,
Wow.
like, God has been showing me even different things about what I'm supposed to be doing and walking in and everything like that. I'm just, a part of me is just like, "Yo, like, this is no, like, no, I don't I don't
Yeah.
know." And the other part's just like, "Yeah, I want it right now." But God's just like, "Yo, like, just chill out. Let me," it's a scripture. Like, I know I'm kind of all over the place. My mind,
No, you're fine. I feel like we both just kind
I
of.
got ADD in my mind. Like, it's just literally, it's just like everything. But it's a scripture that I fell in love. I think it's Psalms 115. I don't know the actual verse, but one translation says that the Lord, what's it say? Well, hold on, come on, Jesus. But he says, before the Lord answered Joseph's dreams, he tested his character.
Mm,
And
yeah.
that's the place that I'm in right now. It's like, cool, this
Wow.
is what you're doing. Your dreams are going to happen in this space. I'm going to test and refine and pull out the best character so that when you get it, you can maintain it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Because one thing I always say is, no matter what,
yeah.
his plan unfolds.
Yeah.
Who you
No
are
matter what.
when the plan unfolds is up
Mm-hmm.
to you. Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
literally up to you. Could be on the top. I've had visions of myself singing in all these places and doing all these things, and if that character isn't worked out, I can get
Nah.
there and just see it that one time, or look at it and you
Mm-hmm.
don't, and I'm not able to enter into the promised land. Look at
Mm-hmm.
all the milk and honey
And
that
isn't
you
that
don't get to
scary?
take part in.
Isn't that scary? Like, even thinking about all the stuff, like, thinking God in heaven is like, bro, like, if only you would have waited. If only you would have, like, actually, like, bought into this lesson that I was trying to teach you. Look at what you could have had. Ain't that scary?
That's it's yeah, it's very scary because like, and it's because it's true and it can really happen.
Yeah,
Like
for
it
sure.
really can really, because he's not a man that he should lie, so his word is going to unfold.
For sure. For sure.
But to know that there's something that I can do that
Yeah.
might mess me, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I could might be looking at it, like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's insane. I don't want to
Yeah.
keep you much
No,
longer.
you're fine.
Oh, somebody. So we got one question. Somebody said, "When is Denard gonna make an album?"
Y'all doing a lot. Y'all doing a lot. A lot,
I
a lot.
wasn't even gonna say it, but
Y'all doing a lot. But no, I've been, the space that I'm in right now, I feel like God has, kind of given me a stamp of approval where it's like, you can do this now. And
yeah.
so not rushing it, not trying to, it won't be this year. Might not be next year. But what I'm trying to get into right now, just the habit of creating, and
Mm,
not just creating for just one thing, just creating, just to create. That's
that's
all. And
good.
just making music that makes me smile, making music that makes the Lord smile, making music that just comes from the heart. So that's kind of the place that I'm in now. So that's why y'all see me recording all this random stuff on my Instagram feed and everything like that. But it's just like getting in the habit of creating. So when that time comes, like I got a well to kind of go from. So
Yeah, that's good. I in my devotion very recently, like because I just feel like this huge shift happening on the inside. And I'm like, oh, what the heck is going on? And I was just like, can you just speak to me? And he just like gave me like Genesis. I can't remember where it was, but the scripture was literally going in detail about the way that he was preparing to go sacrifice Isaac. It was like he grabbed this.
mm,
It was only just that. It didn't say what was next, but it was like he grabbed
mm,
this, he grabbed this, he grabbed this, he told Isaac to
jeez.
come home. And I was like, what? And he was like, prepare. Just prepare. That all I'm
Man.
telling you is to focus on preparing right now. And so
Mm,
that just serves as confirmation. The last
mm,
thing I'm gonna say, and I'm gonna ask you this last question I ask everyone, if there was one word of wisdom that you would share with, if you had the platform of every worship leader in the world,
mm.
there was one word of wisdom that you would give us, what would that be?
Um, I feel like our call had like a theme the whole time. Like
Mm,
it followed like a direct theme. And so I mean, I feel like to wrap everything up is to fall in love with the Father as well too.
mm,
Because all of this falling in love with yourself, falling in love with the gift, believing in yourself, all of that means nothing if there isn't love for the Father.
mm.
Especially in our line of work. Like you can't be a worship leader if you don't worship.
That's good.
Like that's a real thing. And understanding what worship actually is, not a perceived notion of what you think it might be, not stuff that's rehearsed, not stuff that you heard somebody else say, but truly falling in love with the Father and everything else, really, like peace with oneself, peace with other people, peace with the giftings that comes from that root.
Absolutely.
And so that's the biggest advice that I wish that I'd have gotten when I started off leading worship, for sure. I wish that, because, we focus so much on the giftings and you got to do this and you got to do that, you got to say that. But I wish that someone had sat me down and was like, bro, all this stuff doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you don't love the Father, if you
Yeah,
don't have a true relationship. So that's my biggest word of advice, for sure.
that's so good. Well, man of God,
My sister?
with thine braids that you said you were going to
With
make
that,
it.
see, I told y'all, don't play with me. Stop playing with me. I told y'all I was gonna get braids.
Oh my God, I cried when the next snap you said, see, I got my do right. I said,
See,
I
see,
can't
see.
do this. Why do
I
you have
told
braids for
y'all.
real?
I told y'all. And so, and my wife is she's still getting used to it. Like she's still just like, how you
She's
doing?
like,
Like,
bring the curls,
just
bring the curls. Where's Respond? Where's Respond?
yeah, man. So, but yeah.
No, this is incredible. Thank you so much for taking the time to share the
Thank you for
wisdom.
having me.
No, I'm honored. I'm grateful. Y'all, this is a superstar in this live.
Stop it.
Y'all need to
No.
put some hearts. He is famous. Famous.
No, not at all. Not at all. Not,
The
I
only
can't
reason why
wait.
he's probably not in Africa right
Yo,
now is because we're quarantined.
I'm ignoring everything that you're saying, right? Like, it doesn't even know. Like, I honestly can't wait till all this stuff, all this COVID stuff is gone, because I can't wait to come over there and worship with you guys. Like, that would be,
Oh my God,
oh
that
my
would just
God, that would be
blow the
so
ceiling off.
fun.
I wouldn't even
Jeez.
sing that night. I would just sit down and receive.
Dana, Dana,
I would
Dana,
be so happy.
Dana, Dana, Dana.
I'm
No,
so serious.
no,
I would be like, yes, glory to
no,
God.
no.
Look, Jay, she's on our worship team. Yo.
Yo, wouldn't that be
Look,
crazy,
bro,
y'all? Like, I
if
want
this
to,
is
like,
all
that's
one
what,
LA worship, they're like, yes.
bro, that would be, with you, with Elliot, with Kyle, with bro, like,
Honestly,
what?
that we should just start preparing. That's why God brought that scripture up. He said,
Yeah.
prepare.
Prepare
Look,
to kill Isaac.
The saints in this last 2 minutes said, "Can you sing, respond right now?"
Sing, respond. Wow.
Just your part when you did.
Wow, y'all do understand? I don't
run?
lead that song. I don't. It's not. I don't even lead. What are we talking about? Like, I don't even lead this song. What are we?
Or what you can do for all of us at the Potter's House at 1LA, because we admire this one section of Almighty Ones, and Jade can. Jade,
God.
it's literally just the beginning, and you go, yeah.
Oh my God, y'all wildin'. No.
No, we genuinely love you, Dinar. We really do. Like, we really do.
I love y'all. Like, y'all song, the already done song, is like the day he let me play it. I was like, yo, this is a problem. I literally, like, asked my wife, I play this song at least 27 times a day. Like, I love that. That is a crazy, crazy, crazy song. And y'all are very inspiring, even because, Forward City, we haven't released anything officially. And it's even inspiring to see, like, churches like you guys, like, really solidifying your sound and putting it out for the world to hear, because it's something that is necessary for sure. So thank you guys for that song, because it's I'm telling you, like, I literally, like, if y'all can get like any type of revenue from how many times I sing that song, like, that would be like, y'all
From all your plays,
from all my personal stream, y'all be rich. Like, hey,
get out of here. It'll be mutual for all the YouTube replays we play. No, but I'm so super grateful. I'm honored. I'm so grateful that you came on today. We absolutely love you. You are
likewise.
our family.
Yeah.
And thank you. Thank you. Can you pray us off, Pastor?
I can. Father, thank you for an amazing talk with my amazing sister, God. Thank you that you're blessing the works of her hands, God. Thank you that you're continuing, God, to, I don't know, just to fill every part of her, Father, that she doesn't work from a point of exhaustion, that she's never tired, God, but that she knows that she realizes, God, that you're a never-ending source of energy, of creativity, of passion, of fire. God, I pray that just all the things that you've downloaded in her heart, Father, that it overflows not just on her, but the audience, God. Every time she opens her mouth, God, I pray that the tangible presence, Father, is there. God, I pray over their worship team, God. I pray that just the sound that they're birthing right now, God, is necessary. I pray, God, that just your wind blows that sound all across the world, God, because the world needs to know what you're doing at One Church LA, God. Thank you for just this time that we've had.